The American Government's Resurgence Project. This presentation are the training modules 1 through 4 for the state assemblies to prepare to launch the project. It will cover the initial introduction of the project through to the initial phase of the project, the initial launch of the project. Module 1, Introduction. It's a 6-phase project, starting with phase 1, an international public notice campaign, and a later addendum phase 1A, the teeth, called the teeth, was added as an alternate launch process. Phase 2 is our Commitment County Tours, which is short for our commitment to the Declaration of Independence of 1776. Phase 3, the transference of Government Strategic Execution Plan. Phase 4, the 1776 Union.TV platform. Phase 5, the 1776union.com news blog. Phase 6 is a 3-day event themed America's Resurgence 2028 after 160 years. You can refer to the video titled The Execution Overview of the American Government's Resurgence Project at that video link on our YouTube channel to hear the explanation of all 6 phases. To participate or not to participate is the question that all assemblies will need to ask themselves. All state assemblies will need to have the capacity and wherewithal to launch the steps that are set forth in this project. Now, this project was designed so that all assemblies will be able to do this. All state assemblies can take the liberty to improvise throughout their launch of the project as they deem is best suited for their assembly's uniqueness and challenges. All state assemblies will need to consider whether they will participate with the member states in this project, executing it together as a federation, or whether they will decline to participate and choose to instead navigate on their own as a sovereign state assembly body. There are 2 primary goals of the project. Number 1 is to achieve the recognition as America's only government from the American people, from our subcontractors, and from the world nations. And number 2, to achieve a systemic solution to end the 160 years of criminal usurpation of our government by our subcontractors. Now, how do we get there from here? Well, since the Federation of States is not recognized as the only bona fide government in America, then it makes sense and should be expected that no state assembly or county assembly or individual American state national is recognized either, they being what constitutes our federation in the first place. This is our predicament for 160 years. And the reason why I think that to end this systemic issue will require us to bring the American people face to face with the responsible contractual parties, the American, the British, and the Roman municipal governments, especially in their communities and on the same stage, to bring them remedy and to tell them the truth. The great reveal must be made to the American people and to the world nations that these service contracts we call constitutions establishes unequivocally that we have an employer-employee relationship with them, which makes us America's only government. There are 3 focal points of the project. We will focus on our messaging, our strategy, and our execution. Our messaging is this: Americans are born as sovereign state nationals, not citizens. You can only be a U.S. citizen or a municipal citizen of the United States if you are employed by the federal government. You can be employed as either of these federal citizens and retain your sovereign national status outside of your job hours. You are either a victim or complicit with the crime of forced U.S. citizenship at birth. The American government will not presume your innocence or your guilt. Your mother's signature on your birth registration indicating you as a U.S. citizen is evidence that you are complicit. Recording and publishing your birthright political status as a national is evidence that you are a victim. You are accountable for both of these public records. Our strategy focuses on protecting the people and their assets, where people means anyone who stepped foot on American soil, not just the declared American state nationals. Our government has a duty to protect the sovereign rights and contractual rights of anyone within its jurisdiction. What places anyone within the jurisdiction of our land and soil government? The fact that you step foot on the land and soil of America. Our jurisdiction is not limited to those who are declared state nationals. Even where Admiralty and maritime subcontractors have locations ceded to them on our land and soil, they still have to be subjected to their constitutional limitations and our superior concurrent general jurisdiction. Our execution. The execution of our demands, directives, and public laws will follow a chain of custody, thereby demonstrating that we are competent at governing. And what do I mean, for example? The states pass a public law. The Federation issues an enactment declaration of law upon the land for that public law. The State Assemblies hold public meetings to inform the public of that public law, its enacting declaration, and how to self-govern according to that law. The people then become responsible to report violators of the public law as a crime to the peacekeepers. The peacekeepers in turn conduct criminal investigations against alleged violators to enforce our public law and restore the peace. Module 2, pre-launch preparations. What preparations need to be made by the State Assembly and by the individual American state national for this project? How can the Assembly prepare? Here's a checklist. Put an Assembly in session announcement in the legal notices of a main newspaper for your area with your annual meeting schedule. Prepare and customize the provided email template to send out to the recorded nationals to inform them that they are eligible to open a GFG prosperity account. Make an Assembly assessment. Ask the questions. Do you have an elected county sheriff in the county where the state capital is located? Any county sheriffs elected at all? A state coroner, a PKTF assembly liaison, continental marshal, or militia commander elected? Do you have a budget to run a public notice campaign? How many people are actively serving on the assembly doing the work? Do you have conflict resolution protocols in place and effectively implemented to facilitate getting assembly business done? Based on your assembly's assessment, choose a strategy. Phases 1 and 2 has the teeth and the secure the capital strategies, or phase 1A that has only the teeth strategy. Now, what's the difference? In comparison with phases 1 and 2 versus phases 1A, this is what you will consider. Phase 1 goes with phase 2, while phase 1A is a standalone phase. Both phases 1A and phase 2 are literally the same. They are the execution of the county tours of your state involving the teeth strategy. The difference is the county that each one will start with. Phase 1A starts with any county of your choice in your state. Phase 2 starts with the county that has the Capitol building and governor's office located in it, where you will execute the security capital strategy. Phase 1 synergizes with the phase 3 security capital strategy, while they may be launched independently. In phase 3, involving the security capital strategy, requires the assembly to have an elected sheriff in the county where the state capital is located, as well as a militia commander, continental marshal, and PKTF liaison for your assembly. While phase 1A does not require the assembly to have any of these elected peacekeepers. When considering the launch of phase 1, the International Public Notice Campaign, ask yourself, does your assembly want to run its campaign from the Resurgence Project's claimyourinheritance.info website? Or does your assembly want to create your own government website landing page on a branded URL? For example, the Assembly the illinoisassembly.land/claim with the International Public Notice video uploaded there. You can then either link back to the Claim Your Inheritance.info website for the other information, or you can upload that information, the detailed research, the brochures, and other documents and videos from there to your own branded website as well. Make your decision. If you choose to use your own branded government website, then you will follow through by purchasing your URL and building your Assembly's government website to host your landing page and prepare your postcards or emails using your URL. If you choose to use the Claim Your Inheritance.info website, you will follow through by preparing your International Public Notice postcard or email campaign using that URL. If you choose to not run an International Public Notice campaign and instead start with holding public meetings, you will follow through by preparing your county tour schedule. How can the individual nationals prepare? Well, the nationals can consider grassroots community canvassing to get involved. You can print the 6 1/4 by 9-inch postcard in landscape form on an 8.5 by 11 letter size regular paper in color. One side of the postcard front on one page, one part of the postcard back. One page for the back on a second 8.5 by 11 sheet in landscape like you see here. These flyers will get nailed on the trees in a row down one side of the road in your community to grab attention. You can also print the 4 by 6-inch postcard on the front and the back of heavyweight paper and cut them to size. These postcards will get placed in cars, window shield wipers, inside house doors, on bulletin boards, in stores and libraries, etc. Module 3, designing your county tours. When considering the location to start your county tours, ask yourselves these questions. Which county or counties already have an elected county sheriff? Which county or counties has the most declared nationals? Which county or counties has the least declared nationals? Which county or counties is close to standing or seatment? Which county is most populated or least populated? Phases 1, 2, and 3 launches in the capital county. Your assembly runs an international public notice in the capital county via one of these 3 options: the postcard campaign, which would be the every door direct mailing postcard, the large one, or the direct mail postcard, which is the 4 by 6 smaller one, or a community canvassing campaign, or an email campaign. After completing the campaign, your assembly then schedules a public meeting in that county. Your peacekeepers will launch phase 3 in that same county, independently or at the same time you launch phase 1 or phase 2. Planning your county tours. Map out your tour schedule for your counties with starting point as the capital county or the starting point as the county of choice. Determine the locations of the counties you will visit based on a recommended radius of a 1 to 2 hour drive in all directions from that county. Determine your transition point of when you will move from phase 1 to phase 2. This would be determined by the progress of your international public notice campaign. Determine the pace at which you will move from one county to the next. Consider how to possibly hold more than one public meeting at a time with a different roster of officers hosting it. Select who will be the speakers at the public meetings and who will speak to the media representing your assembly when called upon. Launch logistics to make note of. Phases 1 and 3 can launch at the same time once the official launch announcement is made. Phase 1 can launch without your assembly having phase 2 all planned out yet. Phase 1A can launch in any county once the assembly is prepared and the official launch announcement is made. The assemblies are advised to tour their counties in a systematic and methodical way to be able to best monitor, evaluate, and adjust its execution strategy quickly and most effectively. This project was designed to focus on seeding one strategic county to best capitalize on the Assembly's limited manpower and resources. As you prepare, review the launch overview video and this accompanying document you see here. You can refer to the video titled Pre-Launch Overview Phases 1 and 2 of the American Government's Resurgence Project at this YouTube link. Module 4, Launch. Once the launch announcement is made, assemblies announce to your state nationals. They can print their own international public notice flyers at home and nail them on trees along the roads, on announcement boards in public places like libraries and post offices, and in stores and businesses. They can print their own postcards at home and place them on car windshields, in church and business parking lots, along the city street blocks, etc. They can start their own social media posting campaigns in the comment areas as they peruse the web. Note, however, you will need to learn the appropriate way to comment so not to get blocked as spammer. The state assemblies execute this launch process. Send out the International Public Notice email template to the recorded nationals on your state, letting them know to sign up for their GFG accounts and provide them the link to the GFG website. Here. Run a public service announcement, PSA, on the local radio station or online. If you choose phase 1, start your International Public Notice postcards or email campaigns to your designated county or counties within a 1 to 2 hours drive to your capital. Place a legal notice in the newspaper announcing that the American civil government was restored on October 21st, 2017. Your state, say the Illinois Assembly is now in session, followed by your annual meeting schedule. It's not necessary to list officers because if they were publicly elected, you already listed them in the newspaper. If they were not publicly elected, then your officers are pro tem, thus not elected public officers yet, and need not be listed. Put the same notice front and center on your assembly's website. That's the launch. No county touring yet. Just disseminate the International Public Notice via post office, email, community canvassing, or social media. Get prepared to shift gears to phase 1A or 2. There will be help along the way. The International Outreach Think Tank meets once a month and will have a QA opportunity at every meeting for assemblies to come ask questions and compare notes. The PKTF Strategy Task Force meets twice per month and will have a QA opportunity at every session for assemblies to come ask questions and compare notes. The affiliate director, myself, is available via email or by phone to ask questions and for you to provide me with feedback of your outcomes so that I can pass them along to other assemblies who may benefit from knowing it, and for the strategy task force to use in our evaluations. Stay tuned for the next training modules, starting with Module 5, Conducting the Public Meeting. Thank you.